You have until December 31st of the year you first contributed to a Roth IRA, not the day you opened it, to start a clock that determines whether your retirement money is truly tax-free. Most people in their late 50s and early 60s assume they've figured this part out. You put money into a Roth, it grows, and when you retire, you pull it out tax-free. That's the deal, right? Partly. There's a timing rule that a lot of near retirees miss, and it tends to surface at exactly the wrong moment. Here's a situation I've seen play out more than once. A 63-year-old has spent his entire career building up a Roth 401k through his employer. He's never bothered opening a personal Roth IRA. He didn't need to. He retires, does what most people do, and rolls that Roth 401k into a brand new Roth IRA clean move, right? Except there's a problem. His 5-year earnings clock just started at 0. That money he spent years growing, the earnings on it aren't tax-free yet. He needs to wait again. What if he had made one small $100 move before he left his job? That single step would have changed everything. Before we get to that, let's make sure you understand exactly which rule just caught him. Because there are actually 2 5-year clocks, and most people only know about one. There are actually 2 separate 5-year rules inside the Roth IRA system, and they work differently. Knowing both is what separates someone who retires confidently from someone who gets a surprise tax bill. The first rule is the account level 5-year rule. This one governs earnings, the growth inside your Roth IRA. The clock starts on January 1 of the tax year you made your very first Roth IRA contribution ever. Not when you opened the account, not when you deposited the money, January 1 of that tax year. This clock is permanent. You only get one. Once you hit the 5-year mark and you're over 59 and a half, your Roth IRA earnings are tax-free for the rest of your life. No matter how many new accounts you open, no matter how many more contributions you make. But if the 5-year clock hasn't run, earnings are still taxed as ordinary income when you withdraw them, even after age 59 and a half. The second rule is the conversion level 5-year rule. Each Roth conversion has its own 5-year holding period, and it exists specifically to prevent people from using conversions as a workaround to dodge the 10% early withdrawal penalty. Here's the part that trips people up less often at retirement age. Once you're past 59 and a half, this second rule becomes essentially irrelevant. No early withdrawal penalty applies to conversions once you've hit that age threshold. So after 59 and a half, the one that still matters is the first rule, the earnings clock. Now here's the trap, and this is the one that caught the 63-year-old from the earlier example. A Roth 401k is not a Roth IRA. They're different account types for 5-year rule purposes. When you roll a Roth 401k into a brand new Roth IRA, one that has never existed before, the earnings clock on that new Roth IRA starts at 0. It doesn't matter how long you held the Roth 401k. The Roth 401k's own participation history does not carry over. Let's put a real number on what that costs. Say Mark is 63, retired last year, and rolled $180,000 from his Roth 401k into a new Roth IRA. He had that 401k for 8 years, so he assumed his earnings were locked in as tax-free. His clock just reset to January 1, 2026. By 2028, he needs $15,000 from the account. Roughly $60,000 of his $180,000 is earnings, about 33%. So of the $15,000 he pulls out, around $5,000 is classified as earnings. At a 22% federal rate, that's $1,100 in taxes he never expected to pay. Not a catastrophe, but entirely avoidable. This isn't a penalty for doing something wrong. It's a timing rule, and the difference between someone who knows it and someone who doesn't is often a single $100 Roth IRA opened before the rollover. Fidelity reported in 2024 that roughly 20% of retirees rolling 401k assets to an IRA were opening a new IRA account for the very first time. That's not a small number. Those are the people this rule catches. So now you understand the trap. The interesting part is the fix, and it costs $100. Open a Roth IRA today, even if just with $100, before you ever roll over your Roth 401k. That one act starts your account level 5-year earnings clock immediately. I used to think that rolling a Roth 401k into a Roth IRA was a clean, seamless move with no complications. I was half right. The money moves fine. The account structure, the tax treatment, the mechanics of the rollover all work as expected. But the clock doesn't come with it. Here's why the $100 move works. When you open a Roth IRA and contribute any amount, even $100 in a given tax year, the IRS records January 1 of that year as your 5-year start date. That start date is tied to you as a person, not to any specific account. When you later roll your Roth 401k into that existing Roth IRA, the rollover funds land in an account that already has a running clock. The IRS looks at the earliest Roth IRA ever opened in your name, not the most recent one. The rollover doesn't reset anything. Let's look at what that timing difference actually means. Scenario A, you don't open a Roth IRA before retiring. You roll over your Roth 401k at age 63 in 2026. Your 5-year earnings clock starts January 1, 2026. You can't access earnings tax-free until 2031, when you're 68. Scenario B, you opened a $100 Roth IRA back in 2023. Your clock started January 1, 2023. You roll over your Roth 401k at age 63 in 2026. By 2028, the 5-year clock has already run its full course. Earnings are tax-free 3 years earlier than in Scenario A. That 3-year difference is worth somewhere between $1,100 and $4,000 or more in avoided taxes, depending on your tax bracket and how much you draw down in those early retirement years. And the only cost was $100 placed into an account that you probably would have opened at some point anyway. Here's how to do it. Open a Roth IRA at any major brokerage. Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab all have no minimum or very low minimums. Put in $100. Your brokerage will automatically send you Form 5498 the following May, which documents the year of your first contribution. That's the form that establishes your 5-year start date with the IRS. Keep a copy of it. When you retire and roll over the Roth 401k, make sure the funds go into the same account you opened, not a new one. One phone call to your plan administrator to confirm the destination is all it takes. The annual Roth IRA contribution limit for 2026 is $7,000 or $8,000 if you're 50 or older. But the clock doesn't care how much you contribute. $100 is legally sufficient to start it. But here's the question I get from a lot of people at this point. I'm 62. Even if I open it today, I still have to wait 5 years for the earnings. Is that actually worth it at my age? That's a fair question, and it's worth answering directly. The short version, yes, it's worth it, and the numbers back that up. According to the Social Security Administration's period life table, a 62-year-old American can expect to live to roughly 83 if male, or about 86 if female. That's another 20 to 24 years of retirement income to plan around. Even if you open a Roth IRA at 62 today and wait 5 years for earnings to become tax-free, you still have 15 to 19 years of tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals ahead of you. That's not a small window. The Roth IRA was created by the Tax Relief Act of 1997. It was designed as a long-horizon savings vehicle, the assumption being that people would open one in their 30s or 40s and let it grow for decades. Nobody wrote a carve-out for the 62-year-old opening one for the first time. The 5-year rule applies the same way, regardless of your age at opening. That's not punitive. It's just how the rule was written. But here's the piece of the rule that gets less attention, and it actually makes the 62-year-old scenario easier to manage than it sounds. The 5-year rule only applies to earnings. Your Roth IRA contributions, the money you actually put in, can be withdrawn at any time, at any age, with no taxes and no penalties. That's because contributions are after-tax dollars. The IRS already collected on them. So the day you open that $100 Roth IRA, you have $100 that's available to you with zero restrictions. Add $500 next year, that's accessible too. The 5-year wait is only on the growth that accumulates on top of what you put in. For a 62-year-old, that means this account is useful from day one, not just after the clock finishes. Now here's the scenario that almost nobody talks about. What happens if you've already made the rollover without a pre-existing Roth IRA? You're already in the situation. What do you do from here? Let's say you're 64. You retired last year, rolled your Roth 401k into a brand new Roth IRA in 2025. You didn't have a prior Roth IRA, so your earnings clock started January 1, 2025. You're now watching this video and wondering if you missed something. You didn't do anything wrong. You followed the standard rollover process. But the clock is what it is. It started in 2025, which means the 5-year mark lands in 2030. I've seen this situation with people who were meticulous in every other way, maxed their 401k for years, paid off the mortgage early, tracked every dollar. The Roth clock thing just wasn't on their radar. And the frustrating part is, it didn't need to cost them anything. So what can you do from here? The most straightforward option is to avoid drawing down earnings from the account until 2030. You don't have to touch the earnings at all in the first 5 years. Your contributions are fully accessible. Pull from those instead. If your Roth account is, say, $200,000 and $60,000 of that is earnings, you have $140,000 in contributions you can access right now without any tax consequences. Plan your early retirement withdrawals around that. You can also lean on other income sources to bridge those 5 years. Social Security, a pension if you have one, or a taxable brokerage account. The goal is simply to not force a withdrawal from the earnings portion before 2030. If you do need to pull from the account before 2030 and some of that is earnings, it's taxable as ordinary income. It's not a penalty. There's no extra 10% hit since you're over 59.5. It's just income tax on the growth. Plan it into your tax picture accordingly. One more thing worth mentioning. If you have heirs who will eventually inherit this account, your 5-year clock transfers to them. An inherited Roth IRA carries over the original account holder's start date. So even if you end up waiting until 2030 for your own tax-free earnings, your beneficiaries step into an account where the clock was already running from 2025, not from the year they inherit it. If you're finding this useful, subscribe to the channel. We cover exactly these kinds of IRS rules that don't get enough attention until it's too late. Now let's look forward. If you're still working and you haven't retired yet, here's exactly what to do right now. Let me introduce you to one more person. Rachel, 58 years old, still working, with $95,000 in a Roth 401k through her employer. She plans to retire at 63. She has never opened a personal Roth IRA. Here's exactly what she should do. Step 1. Open a Roth IRA today. She doesn't need to overthink this. Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab all allow her to open an account with no minimum or a very small one. She puts in $100. That's it. Her 5-year earnings clock starts January 1, 2026. By the time she retires at 63 in 2031, the clock will have already run for 5 full years. Her rollover earnings will be tax-free from the moment she starts drawing down. Step 2. Keep contributing each year she's eligible. Roth IRA eligibility requires earned income below the income phase-out range. For 2026, that's $150,000 to $165,000 for single filers, or $236,000 to $246,000 for married filing jointly. If Rachel's income falls under those thresholds, she can contribute up to $8,000 per year since she's over 50. Even small annual contributions keep the account growing and keep her in the habit. Step 3. When she retires, roll the Roth 401k into the existing Roth IRA, not a new one. This is the step where the trap closes on people who aren't paying attention. When Rachel contacts her plan administrator to initiate the rollover, she needs to specify a direct trustee to trustee transfer into the Roth IRA she already opened. Not a new account, the existing one. One phone call, one confirmation, and the clock that's already been running continues to run. Step 4. Keep track of your first contribution year. Every year, the brokerage holding her Roth IRA will send her Form 5498, typically in May. This form shows the year of her first contribution. That's the documentation that establishes her 5-year start date with the IRS. She should keep a copy somewhere she can find it. Not complicated, just worth doing once. Step 5. For anyone who already did the rollover without a prior Roth IRA first, get clarity on what portion of your account is contributions versus earnings. Your former 401k administrator should have those records. From there, plan withdrawals to pull from contributions only for the first 5 years. If you have a more complex situation, multiple conversions, multiple rollover events, a conversation with a CPA, and Form 8606 tracking will help you stay organized. 5 steps. None of them complicated, none of them expensive. The $100 Roth IRA is genuinely one of the cheapest and most overlooked moves in retirement planning. Not because it grows a lot on its own, but because it starts a clock that saves you from paying taxes on the money that does. Here's a quick summary of what we covered. There are 2 5-year rules. The one most people miss is the account level rule for earnings. The clock that starts January 1 of the tax year you made your first Roth IRA contribution. It doesn't reset when you open a new account. It doesn't restart when you roll money in. It just runs once you start it. Rolling a Roth 401k into a brand new Roth IRA starts that clock at 0. That's the trap. You can hold a Roth 401k for 10 years and still have a day one earnings clock if you never opened a personal Roth IRA first. The fix is simple. Open a $100 Roth IRA now. Start the clock. Then when you roll over, the clock is already running. If you're in your early 60s and wondering if it's worth it, your contributions are accessible from day one, your earnings become tax-free in 5 years, and the actuarial math says you likely have 20 plus years ahead of you. Yes, it's worth it. If you already rolled over without a prior Roth IRA, you're not out of options. Draw from contributions first, let the clock run to 2030, and plan accordingly. Your heirs will also step into a clock that started the day you did the rollover. I don't know your exact tax situation, and this isn't financial advice. But this is the kind of move that a lot of people wish they had heard about before they retired, not after. If this video helped you catch something, subscribe to the channel. We cover the retirement rules that matter for people in their 50s and 60s, not the generic advice you've already heard. The Roth 5-year rule is not complicated. It just needs to be started. Do it today.